Idea of intimacy and like seeing the two levels of it, because I think that that's what can mess people up, is not understanding that maybe there's potentially two levels to it. And so we all in some way need to have intimacy. We meet someone, like we need to like them, we need to feel a sense of closeness, but then it's also thinking about that question of like, how authentic is this closeness?
Yeah.
Is this closeness that we are creating just because we want to feel comfortable, maybe because it's like, I know that I want to have sex with you, and like I know that in order to have sex with you I need to feel close to you, but then once the then sexual act is done, I think that, or even, you know, like we're saying 3 months down the line, that seems to be the real telltale sign of whether or not genuine intimacy can be developed.
Right. It's the person that, like, you know, how do you react when that person farts around you? Then that's when you're in that love level. Once you start doing some gross shit that you would never do in the first 3 months, that's when it's like, okay, where are we at? Are we on this level? Like, I think once you're at fart territory, then you're like, oh, this is legit. Like,
Yeah.
This is legit.
But I do like that idea of thinking about how, because I think this is where a lot of people get confused in those kind. Well, one, I think fuckboys will make it confusing, but like, again,
I
there's,
love you, girl. Yeah.
yeah, but it's like because they know that they need to create that sense of intimacy. And I also think maybe there's like a gender reading thing too. Like maybe for women, like intimacy is a whole thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not two levels. It's like, you know, if you're asking me about like the cool things I'm doing with my life, or you're asking me about my family, to me that feels like you are intimately trying to get to know me.
Yes.
Whereas
yeah.
for men, it is a two-level thing. It's like, oh, I just need to get to know you so I can fuck you.
No,
And then
it's not that ruthless. It's like, oh, let me ask you about your like sick cousin to like so I can sleep with you later. That's like terrible.
I don't know.
That's a bad fuckboy if you need to do all that just to get ass. Like that's just a bad fuckboy in general. Like there's way easier ways to get ass without having to do all that work.
Well, you should talk
of
to your
intimacy.
friend.
Wow, we gotta get him on the show.
No.
Swear to God. I think there's like, and I think I've noticed that when I start having a conversation about family with somebody, it's on that. Oh, you care about that. And there's some people where I don't even think about talking about family, and they don't even think about it either. We're just talking about just stuff or turning up or whatever else. And I think you're on the same wavelength as that person. Like I try to, it sounds like, oh, whatever, you're not. I try to be as open as possible in that way, where I like to have those conversations that you normally wouldn't have on a first date or whatever else, where it's like, this is who I am. This is what sex is to me. This is how I'm feeling right now. It's like, if I hate the whole, what are you looking for? And the answer typically is, well, you know, I'm like looking for something, but not really. You know, it's like, you know, just looking to connect with someone, see how it goes. You've answered nothing. If you're looking for a relationship, then just be like, oh, I would be very open to a relationship. I would honestly prefer it, versus just playing it safe in this equal playing field. Like if I'm just looking to fuck, you should just say I'm looking for that.
I agree. And I think that that's part of intimacy, is being honest and knowing what you want in that particular moment. I think a lot of people are scared to admit, like, hey, well, here's the thing that's hard about that, though, is that I know plenty of women that would love to be upfront and be like, hey, like, I'm looking for a relationship. But, like, I feel like more often than not, guys hear relationship and they're just like, oh, no, I'm not doing this.
And they're not worth the time then. They're not worth the time if a woman says, I'm looking for a relationship, and he's like, oh, hell no, I don't know, I'm fucking with that. Then it's like...
But I do feel like there's some sort of cultural thing where, like, men are almost kind of encouraged to be that way, even if that's not even how they feel, but they feel like they're supposed to be averted to that.
Well, they're idiots, because it's the case where even if the woman says, I'm looking for a relationship, you may be in a relationship, you automatically think, oh no, I should just want to casually date everyone I'm on a date with. Just because they say they're in a relationship, they want a relationship, doesn't mean, oh, that's it, second date, you're committed, and you're going to break their heart, and you have to be with them forever. No, they're just saying this is what they're looking for. You could keep dating a person even though their intention is a relationship. You could still have that same thing, connection, go on dates, get to know each other, Because the whole process of dating is realizing if you want to be with that person or not. So as a man, if I hear...
Well, see, and I don't know how true that is for a lot of people that do date.
Well, that's why I'm like doing the PSA right now of just like, men, if you're hearing this and the woman says she wants a relationship, don't run for the hills. Just see if you're into her. If you're not into her after a couple dates, be like, oh no, I don't see myself in a relationship with you. And that's it. But if you're just looking to smash, then be like, oh, you know what? I'm busy with work. You know, I'm in a band, you know, right now. I don't know. And that's not what I'm looking for. I don't know. And I think a woman will respect that.
Yeah, for sure.
And move on. You just move on rather than like, oh yeah. You know.
Well, see, and that's, I think the hard part is that like there's that fear. I remember, who was it? Somebody at BuzzFeed did it. I think it was I cannot remember who did it, but they did a video where it was about like a guy just basically being like, oh, you know, like I don't know if I can like hang out with you later or whatever, and she's just like, that's fine. Cool. Like it's just one of those things where I just feel like guys, and the guy in the video was offended that she didn't feel a type of way about him not being emotionally available to her.
Right.
And like it's one of those things where I'm just kind of like, you know, if you're not into it or whatever, like that's fine. Like, but like you said, like just let me know so that I know to emotionally close this door.
Right.
You know, like it's not a question of like, oh my gosh, like I want to be with you forever. It's like, no, I just need to know so I can emotionally close this door.
Exactly, for sure. I mean, it's really as simple as that. And that's what I tell all my lady friends when they ask about like, well, why doesn't he do that, or why is he acting like this, or why is he this and that. Again, a man will change if he's into you, if he likes you. He will do all those said things. He will take the time. He will call. He will text. He will show you that he cares about you if he actually cares. And I think it's kind of simple as that, because a lot of guys don't put the time in. And I know I haven't put the time in some things because I'm just not that into them. And it's selfish on their part, because they should just say, hey, I'm not into you like this. I would love to just hang out with you, see you when I see you. If you're not into it, then you move on with your life. Usually, you will be surprised, men who's listening to this, how open they will be to that idea, as long as you present it in a very confident, open way.
I don't understand what's to be surprising about it, though. Like, where is this assumption?
Because exactly,
like, that's my thing. I'm like, where did y'all get this baseless assumption from?
Because it's the that no one wants to be a fuckboy. So it's like they're I think it's the fear of, okay, if I say I just want to fuck around, then it's like, oh, well, you're just, you know, another sex-hungry asshole guy. But
I think the thing is that it's like, you have to know in your heart that you were honest. Like, I hate that you know, there's this like, don't get me wrong, like, do I think that there are guys that are mislabeled fuckboys? Yeah, but it's like, at the end of the day, if you know in your heart that you were honest, like, for you to be like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to be seen as this thing, but then you end up doing actions that contribute to you end up being the thing. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just like, just know in your heart where your intentions are,
right.
and like, and know that person's probably going to be mad. You can't change the fact that they're mad,
yeah.
But like, at the end of the day, all you can say is, look, I said where I'm at, and that's what I can handle, and all I want to do is fuck. And like, you know, that person has to respect that.
Yeah, that's very true. It's the case where, yeah, and it's like, you're not a bad person if, say, you go on a couple dates and you're like, you know what, I'm kind of would just like this more casual thing. And if you're not about it, then I totally get it. And then it's like, okay, well, fine. This is just a testing ground. We're just getting to know each other here. There's not a lot of pressure in this space. And I think that's kind of falls in line with that intimacy of like, are we connecting? Is this intimacy there? But I think that's the hard thing of what Patrick is kind of hitting on, is that physical hormonalness that puts a color over our eyes, or over the lens, which it's like, oh, am I really into you, or do you just have a really nice ass and I'm a human being? And
well, see, that's the passion thing.
But that's the thing. That's how you get wrapped up in these situations.